Welcome, everyone. What a great evening, especially after we've won Best of the best place to worship for 2021, third year in a row. Yeah. It was a definite super spreader evening with 700 people at the auditorium. Anyway, we're going to celebrate that toward the end of the service, but I want to thank everyone for sharing this part of their Sunday evenings with us. We re-welcome some folks, we welcome Zoomers, and we welcome anyone who is with us for the very first time. And we do have someone who's with us for the very first time. I'd like to introduce the new minister at Central, Cam Treese. If you will stand up, please. We are thrilled to have you with us. We welcome you anytime you're not exhausted after all of the festivities of Sunday. Thank you so much. Thank you. I also want to thank Carol McCulloch, who we'll be hearing from her later this evening. She's doing our reflection this evening. I also want to thank our greeters, Debbie Krill and Donna Stroud. Also our tea servers, Kay Foster and Bill Taylor, and our Zoom director, Catherine Wakefield. She is just wonderful. So we welcome everyone, and we'll begin with the call to prayer. Would you join your voice with mine, please? We bid you welcome, who come with weary spirit seeking rest, who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come hurt and afraid. We bid you welcome, who come with hope in your heart, who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous. We bid you welcome, who are seekers to a new faith, who come to probe and explore, who come to learn. We bid you welcome, who enter this place as a homecoming, who have found here room for your spirit, who find in this people a family. Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. And now I would invite everyone to join me as we light our altar. We will light from the main community candle, and Kathy is going to play for us. Now that our altar is lit, I would invite everyone to go to the welcome altar, and we will wash our hands in preparation for the rest of the service. We're going to do it COVID-19 style, which means we will be using the sanitizer on the welcome table. So if you've not had a chance to already wash up, please join us now as we begin our time together. And now we bless our time together. Our altar is lit. We have left what is outside those doors behind us. We have a clean spirit to begin this service. Once again, will you join your voice with me in the responsive prayer? Creator God, we always ask before we thank, for we are asking creatures. We ask for love, and thank you for the love you have inspired in us. We ask to be closer to you, and thank you for our capacity to pray. We ask for your understanding, and thank you for bringing us the light of your presence. We ask for happiness, and thank you for the joy of life. We ask for strength, and thank you for the courage you have given us to hope. We ask for your presence, and thank you for living in our hearts. We ask, and we have already received. Blessed be your name, O God, our Creator. Amen.
As Sue said earlier, The topic or the reflection this evening is mindfulness. It may not be what you expect. I'm issuing a disclaimer. When it comes to opinions in this presentation, they are mine. I take full responsibility for any errors of commission or omission, and I ask you to bear with me. As preparation for any essay, whether I'm doing it orally or in writing, I always consult my thesaurus. I look for words that can replace the word that I'm using as a topic. I feel unnecessary repetition can lead to boredom. Unfortunately, my 1939 thesaurus does not include the word mindfulness. Rather, it lists mindful and indicates that observant, heedful, and awareness are suitable equivalents. Having read this, I repeated each several times so I could get it in my head and think of these words that I was going to use. So you can imagine my surprise 2 weeks ago, the last time we met, when our three leaders basically referenced those words. Maybe not the exact word, but pretty darn close. Awareness, heedfulness, and observance. I see many faces here that were there that night, so I'm sure you're wondering where I'm going. If you remember, that evening was reflection was translation. Les Howard talked about the difference in meaning of the same word when translated by different sources. He explained that the differences could greatly affect the meaning of what we were reading or learning. He cautioned that we should practice awareness in our readings and studies. Joan McPherson related some religious musings and misgivings that she had at an early age. Thoughts that might be contrary to orthodoxy of the Methodist Church. She briefly told of her religious quest. She asked that we be heedful of our inner selves. And Andy Crossland, who I don't see tonight, oh, there he is in the back, he asked us to be observant within nature. To me, these words represent mindfulness, awareness, observance, and heedfulness. Perhaps not by strict definition, and certainly not by definition by the psychology community. During the past 2 decades, or maybe 3 now, this word mindfulness has taken on a status of a proper noun, to be spelled with a big M, a capital M. It has entered the vocabulary of psychology and our everyday life. Who hasn't encountered articles in the popular media, not to mention being confronted with Psychology Today, which you encounter at just about every grocery checkout. Mindfulness bloomed in the 1990s. Why, even in 1993, our illustrious Bill Moyers of PBS did a program titled Healing and Mindfulness. Books, talks, and documentaries are available from Amazon, Netflix, and even YouTube. More than 500 studies are published annually on this topic, mindfulness. Some authorities critique these for a lack of vigor, and some say they lack longitudinal studies. Other folks decry the overly positive results. So be it. Every field has doubters. Witness our COVID vaccination rates, and you'll know about doubters. Our own Spartanburg Public Library has almost 200 titles on the subject. And if you were to do a keyword search, there are more than 8,000 items that would be retrieved that are relevant to this topic, mindfulness. So for all ages, be it adult, young adult, or even children, or even a format of your choice, hardcover, softcover books, periodicals, CDs, or film, you are surrounded by mindfulness. So what is this thing, mindfulness with a capital M? I've learned that its origins may be traced to an ancient practice in Buddhism called sati. Now, don't get that confused with sati in the Hindu religion, which requires the widow to throw herself on her husband's funeral fire. This sati has been translated to mean awareness, mental activity, or simply thought. It is probably one of those untranslatable words that give scholars fits. Les warned us of this in his reflection 2 weeks ago. The first mention of these practices in the Western world was in a book, was in a book by a Buddhist scholar in Britain in the mid-1870s. I think his name was Sir something Davids. Fast forward to the late 1970s, and we have a young man at MIT studying engineering who attends a lecture given by a Buddhist monk. This John Kabat-Zinn is the source of what we know as mindfulness therapy. What he took away was an idea to develop the sati into a system of meditation to treat panic, anxiety, and stress. Well, the genie was out of the lamp, or as they say, the cat was out of the bag. Soon the word was being used in the mainstream of clinical psychology. And as much of what is brought innocently into the US, it was analyzed, organized, categorized, aggrandized, popularized, and eventually commercialized. In the 2016 edition of the Mental Health and Mental Disorders Encyclopedia, it indicates that this thing called mindfulness can be used for the treatment of various conditions dealing with well-being. Some treatments using mindfulness are cognitive behavior therapies, dialectical behaviors. I hope I pronounced that right, David. This therapy for borderline personality disorders. And then we have treatments for anxiety, eating disorders, substance abuse, not to mention sexual dysfunction and ADHD. Soon, mindfulness was not the sole province of the clinical psychologist used in his private sessions with individual patients. It soon spread to corporate leadership seminars, sports teams, and military training sessions. Many in our fast-paced, technologically driven world, with its time and finance pressures, have looked towards mindfulness to help them cope with a laundry list of problems: concentration, performance, anxiety, short-temperedness, and onward. What it does, it shows me that all we might do better if we just slowed down. Stop and smell the roses. I'm sure many of you, at least hopefully, are familiar with a book that came out in the 1940s. It was for children, and it was Ferdinand, a bull named Ferdinand. It was a popular children's book. He refused to fight. He preferred the slow life of living in his pasture and smelling the flowers. I had hoped that an outgrowth of our trials with COVID would be a more relaxed life, but probably not. Everything seems to be moving toward warp speed, bigger, faster, more and more reliance on technology, less and less on self-reliance, or God forbid, family and friends. Notice I did not say better, for I do believe that our technological prowess may have outstripped our humanity. It appears relationships with people are taking a back seat to our technological wonders. Hey, whoever writes a note or calls even You can give your condolences on the condolence email page for the funeral home. Who has taken the time lately to handwrite a condolence note? You can text. Who dared leaves their smartphone out of reach even momentarily? Who can be engrossed in conversation when an ear is tuned for the buzz or the ringtone of their so-called smartphone? Why learn how to do proper research when Siri or Alexa can promptly answer our questions? Does anyone ever fact check those sources? Who is really that important that they must be available 24/7? Even my late husband, a physician, was not available 24/7. And today, physicians are available even less because they have the hospitalist to attend to items that go wrong in the middle of the night. Now back to our psychological thing. I can see that many folks, concede that many folks have benefited from these applied therapies. Meditation, a cornerstone of mindfulness, could be helpful in our quest for peace, quiet, and helping to deal with issues of sadness. However, I am tired. I am very tired of the psychobabble that confuses and even hides a more meaningful life. I am definitely tired of the technology that impedes the development of quality personal relationships. That an ancient honorable practice in Eastern religions has been so codified, advertised, and bastardized that to be almost meaningless and downright trite to everyday folks, it would bring heartbreak to its originators. Rather than rely on these overworked clinical terms such as mindfulness with a capital M, might we not better be served by returning to Roget's of 1939? Practice awareness, be heedful, be observant, be mindful of our words and actions. A type of meditation that focuses on everyday activity. Why can't you be in the moment while stirring the soup pot, or walking the dog, or weeding the garden? I believe that by turning the above list of words into actions, we would go far in helping the world deal with our crazy times, with loss, disappointment, and change that often creates our sadness. We care, we hope, we dream. Yet, I can't say the word with the minister here, but stuff happens. It's the way of the world. I suggest that we don't just suck it up or get over it or tune those bad things out. I would hope that folks could tune in to themselves and what they are going through. You are sad because you have lost something that you valued, be it a spouse, a job, an opportunity, or maybe a pet. In your sadness, ask what it was that you valued about that lost person, item, whatever. Be sad long enough to know why you are sad, specifically why you ache where you do. Now, this exercise may sound silly, and it certainly is simple, but I think it's a good one. Locate within your body where you ache. It might be your heart, your head. And when I lost my first Labradoodle, it was my face, specifically my nose. And I felt that because I would no longer be able to rub noses with him, tell him that he was the best boy and that he brought me great joy. It made me heartbreakingly sad to lose this dog. Take your hand once you've located the place that hurts. Feel the warmth. Acknowledge your pain, your grief, your sadness and know that time has a way of healing or of at least lessening your pain. There exist many ways of working on ourselves, our own applied psychology. For most of us, the overhyped and grossly misunderstood therapies are not necessary, but we do need to be mindful, to be aware, to be observant, and to heed our inner selves. Maybe that is what mindfulness is really all about. So take some time and breathe and accept what it is, for it is what it is, and it's not going to change. Now take a deep breath and go forth, being mindful of your ways.
Continuing in the mindfulness with a capital M, we will acknowledge both our concerns and our joys. We will be mindfully present as we drop pebbles into the vases on the altar, watching those pebbles fall to the bottom, watching the bubbles move to the surface. Those are our prayers. And those of us who remain seated are mindfully present to each other as we drop our prayerful pebbles. We're going to try singing. And I can't ask Kathy to come lead because she has no more breath. So, all shall be well. All shall be well. All manner of things shall be well. All shall be well. Our offering this evening, a portion of which has been designated for the Mental Health Association in Spartanburg, and it's going to honor Carol for sharing her creative energy with us this evening. Catherine, I'm going to ask you if you would just help me. If you'll start the star over that way, I'll start the star this way. We're going to try singing again. But first of all, thank you so much, so very much for your generosity, because it is because of you sharing your time, your talent, and your treasure that enables STAR to be the brilliant and wonderful reflection it is, not only for us gathered here, but those who are Zooming with us, some who aren't able to be with us, and some who have yet to understand how remarkable and amazing STAR is. So once again, joining our voices. Ubi caritas et amor. Ubi caritas Deus ibi es. Live in charity and steadfast love. Live in charity, God will dwell with you. If everyone would please stand for the invocation of the Lord's direction.
You have noticed that everything an Indian does is in a circle, and that is because the power of the world always works in circles, and everything tries to be round. This is the nature of things. In the old days, all of our power came to us from the sacred hoop of the nation, and so long as the hoop was unbroken, the people flourished. The flowering tree was the living center of the hoop, and the circle of the four quarters nurtured it. The east gave peace and light. The south gave warmth. The west gave rain. And the north, with its cold and mighty wind, gave strength and endurance. This knowledge came to us from the outer world with our religion. Everything the power of the world does is in a circle. The sky is round, and I have heard the earth is round like a ball, and so are the stars. The wind, in its greatest power, whirls. Birds make their nests in circles, for theirs is the same religion as ours. The life of a man is a circle from childhood to childhood. I have also invited Rock and Feather to be with us tonight because they have a spirit and a name. This evening, we invoke the Great Spirit Walking-Tonka to let us see our time on this earth as a part of the circle. We burn sage to remember our spiritual journeying, spiral journeying now takes us to the new creation on the Via Transformativa. The smoke constantly transforms into infinite shapes and reminds us of the circles that connect us. The new creation is calling us forth, even as it is remolding us from the inside, so that we may birth new images of the goodness of creation, a new imagination of the creation. We hear the beat of the buffalo drum and know we are all part of the great circle of change. The sweet notes of the flute speak the language of the mystery of the circle. And we know our life flourishes in the circle and is constantly recreated every moment. Facing to the east.
The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the East tell us we are all the center of the world. The circle has no beginning and no end. Seeing the sacred in all things is not easy work. Altogether, may we grow in grace, may we grow in gratitude, may we grow in wisdom that the spiraling path is the only path. May we be on fire with presence and see the sacred in all things. This is how we befriend the new creation.
A quarter turn to the right, facing to the south. The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the South ask us to clear our hearts so that we may experience the holy wholeness of connection, because we are willing to experience the pain of transformation. Altogether, may we grow in grace, may we grow in gratitude, may we grow in wisdom that the spiraling path is the only path. May we be on fire with presence and see the sacred in all things. This is how we befriend the new creation. Quarter turn to the right, facing to the west.
The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the West want us to know that the truth lives in the circle and has been inscribed into the heart of every human being. Altogether, may we grow in grace, may we grow in gratitude, may we grow in wisdom that the spiraling path is the only path. May we be on fire with presence and see the sacred in all things. This is how we befriend the new creation. Facing north.
The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the North want us to know that the great circle is not a place or a thing. The great circle is who we are, and that we are the goodness of creation. Altogether, may we grow in grace, may we grow in gratitude, may we grow in wisdom that the spiraling path is the only path. May we be on fire with presence and see the sacred in all things. This is how we befriend the new creation. Facing to the center.
The grandmothers and the grandfathers of the center want us to look around the circle and see the goodness of creation in every face. We are all on the spiraling path, separately and together. Altogether, may we grow in grace, may we grow in gratitude, may we grow in wisdom that the spiraling path is the only path. May we be on fire with presence and see the sacred in all things. This is how we befriend the new creation. Namaste.
we would be remiss if we didn't celebrate the designation that we received on this past Tuesday evening. And so we are going to have a toast this evening. Gail and Rita are going to pass out some bubbly. It isn't champagne, but it's a Swedish concoction of apple and elderflower. So it's all fruit and it's bubbly. So we're going to share in a toast. If you will just take one off of the tray and hold it in your hand. We'll have a toast and then a prayer, and then we'll be sent out of this place, but not before we share in some wonderful goodies that Sandra Garrett made for us. We've had Kathy with music. We've had Sandra, who's given us beautiful and tasty things. So here they come. Not going to forget that first word. Sorry that we can't have the Zoom folks join us in person, but we hope they will join us in spirit. Yes? Wonderful. I would ask everyone if they would raise their glass. This is for the blessing that we have been this past year. We are the best place to worship. And here is to the new service year, which will begin in September, to each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen, namaste, skål, cheers. There you go, a little Polish. Thank you. Wonderful. A refreshing and tasty treat. Will you join your voices with mine? And I'm going to ask Carol if she will just blow out that the community candle for us, please. All together. And though we extinguish our community candle, we do not extinguish the warmth of community, the spirit of gratitude, the fire of commitment, and our shared compassion during this time together as community. The light of hope, hope for change that brings new blessings into our lives and the lives of those around us, remains and will continue to burn brightly. We carry the hope in our hearts until we are together again. Amen. And now I'm going to ask everyone if they will please stand. We're not going to join hands, but we're going to sing again. One more time. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround us everywhere, everywhere we may go. Until we meet again, God's peace, God's grace, and God's blessing be on each and every one of our hearts, our mindfulness, and in our spirits. Please join us for wonderful refreshment.